Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where I share my journey with you guys, my spiritual, my healing, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, nothing but authenticity over here. Okay guys, it's been a long journey and even here and I've been learning a lot, you guys, and since 2010, since I fully surrendered, I've been learning so much, you guys, and I'm talking about, like I said, coming from broken nothing, just like a blank canvas, you guys, a broken canvas to put that, you know what I mean? And, in the 16 years I've been on my journey, guys, I've been learning everything. I mean, I'm talking about breaking cycles and, I come across so many individuals in my training, I call it my training in this world. And, of course, we call it the process in our life, and God's process in your life. And just teaching you and who you are becoming. And like I said, I went through like a lot. And anyways, and so but that old outdated individual, it's like a shadow side or whatever we call it. And the old individual, you know what I mean, who you are not, he said to show you when you're walking in your walk who you are not, and then who you become. And it's like you look back and you're like, that was not me, or this, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, but you are not that, you know what I mean? Like, and I just share and continue sharing, you guys, and good, bad, and some of the hard stuff like I went through. And, as an empath, I'd look back and see like, wow, like, and I would just sit there, and a super empath at that, I'm called, but, and so many names, but I just look back in my healing process, and normally you're the black sheep that turns into the blueprint. And that's what happened, and I just would look back at that person, you guys, like, dang, and it's like, I just, I look at that, and like there are moments where I'll just random consciously remember things, and like when you're healing, it's a process. Okay, guys, let me just let you know. And I'll be like, oh, I'm healed in this area. And then all of a sudden this comes up. Okay, guys. And I've been learning that a lot. It's like, and I was joking with a friend. I was like, I'm fucking done healing. Anyways, it's just like, no, I just, like I said, need new opportunities, new things that are coming in my life. And, like I said, my faith is what, one thing I was talking to a friend, and is that what got me through is my faith, you guys. I'm not kidding you when I tell you my faith is powerful. And I mean, I'm talking about like just powerful, and I look at those, the versions of that, and just like, and I was like, wow. I mean, I was breaking hard stuff in my bloodline, you guys. Ancestral narcissism, breaking that off my bloodline. That was, we're going to get really more into deep into that, and it's been like a process on here, you guys. And like I said, I've just learned to let go and let God, because it's been, like I said, a process, and part of this walk is learning to surrender, and from my life, and let go of that control and surrender to God in your walk and your will. And that's what I did, you guys. And I'm telling you the complete opposite 180, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to control, I give it to God, constantly, it's like, in my journey, and just everything from, people, places, things, family, like, my mind, everything like that, like, and I've given, learned how to, that we're, no matter what, we're not in control, you know what I mean? Like, and it may seem like it, we're controlling this, we're controlling that, and like I said, I share, a lot, as part of my, process to share my, my testimony, and and my story, and narcissism and stuff like that, and just a lot that I've been through. And it's like, I've learned so much to let go of what no longer serves me, and and I just wanted to take a moment, you guys, to thank God, like, and like I said, I get into this, my path, my purpose, and just everything. Okay. I'm I'm telling you guys, woo-wee, and just, you know, constantly giving thanks to God and my angels, and we entertain angels unaware. You know, like I said, there's people like that are planted here in this world, and I'll share my stories and testimonies. I have multiple testimonies. You know, people in the beginning of my walk when I came to God, stuff like that. For one example is that, you know, I was looking for a job. I just got, you know, it's just running my life again. I just lost my mom in 2010, and that's when I was like ready to give my life and, you know, see this path that God had for me. And literally, I know I was going to go down a healing path, a spiritual path, and all this stuff like that. But anyways, and so I had like $20, you know what I mean? I was in the shelter. I was looking for a job at the time. And I remember going to this Wendy's, and this is a perfect example, you know, and it even says in the word of God, we entertain angels unaware. And this guy was in there, and he was like, can you buy me a bite to eat? You know what I mean? And I had $20. I was like, okay, well, they had like meal deals and stuff like that. And like, sure, you could sit and we could talk, you know what I mean? Get to know his story or whatever. And so I asked him what he want, and I go and get it. And it was like not even a minute, you know? I ordered it, and I turned around, I was getting the number, and he was just disappeared. You know what I mean? And I go outside, I'm just looking around, I'm like, and then the people are like, who? You know what I mean? Like, and, but that's just an example that along our journey, you know, how God tests us, you know what I mean? Like, and not like in a, oh, we're wrong. And like, I was trying to talking to somebody else, like, you know, just to see where we're at in their life, you know what I mean? And we test, you know, some people are just sent here. So that, and that's another place of non-judgment, you know what I mean? And some people God sends in this world, and they may look like on the street or the bums or whatever you like, and you are literally entertaining someone that God sent on this earth, you know what I mean? And it's angel, or you know, do wrong to that person, you know what I mean? Or I share my narcissism, you know, it's all narcissism, you know what I mean? You put someone down, you kick them when they're down, or whatever, you know what I mean? And you're literally entertaining, you know, and that's what I really want to get into, is that, you know, guys, we go in this world and we think, you know, and that's what we're going to get into here about, you know, the illusions and the matrix in this world, you know, and they created a false God. Like I share, we create this false illusion of God and money, and he's this and that, and you have to have a huge platform, and you know what I mean, and all this stuff like that. That makes you, and then it's like, oh yeah, they know God. No. And the devil seeks, you know what I mean, creates an illusion, you know what I mean, in this world to portray, to know God. A lot of people's hearts are wicked and not of God, okay? And versus, you know, those that, you know, are, in this all scripture, that are humble and stuff like that, you know what I mean? God doesn't come as powerful and boastful, and you know what I mean? Like, and, you know what I mean? Like, out here trying to know, you know, it's actually the opposite. And, you know, God has trained me, guys, even when you share, and I hear, you know, I share my stories with that, and how I had literally had to train me, you know what I mean, and speaking, and especially dealing with narcissism and my past, and I will continue sharing that, you know, and but learning, you know, all this stuff like that, how to train you know what I mean, like literally, you know, and to really be humble, and you know, it's hard, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, like, and you want to clap back, you want to say this and that and defend yourself, and God's taught me he is my defender in my life, you know what I mean, and you come in here, and I speak life and love, and but anyways, I just wanted to share this, you know, video, and I've just learned so much, you guys. It's come addicted to me to love. I'm not kidding you. Like, I've learned and excelled, and you know, one of the things in your life is you can make goals for yourself. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with nobody else, but those goals are for yourself, you know, and I constantly make goals for myself, you know, and one of them was to excel at love. You know what I mean? Love the way, I always ask God and pray that God, help me to love the way you love, Lord. And in this world, you know what I mean? Because we have darkness, we have good, we have light. And it's all about our mindset and our perspective, you know what I mean? Like, and so there's a lot of things that my mind has changed, you know what I mean? Like, we still have, you know, everybody has like their own, you know what I mean? Like, walks and healing, and who's God called them to be in this world, stuff like that. But again, you know, he's just like changed my perspective, and coming from unhealed, broken to healed and light, you know, and breaking, you know, multiple heavy curses, you guys, like, you know, we're gonna get into that, you know, it's like you know, but I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful. And like today it just reminded me, I was like, just this one little thing. I was, I was working with a friend, and there's like one little thing that I was just like lighting these people up, and I was just like barely saying a little compliment, and like, you know what I mean, but it was intentional, and it's like, and then they just light up, you know what I mean, and they're like, yeah, like one guy had a drink and peanuts, and I was like, that's a good combo, you know what I mean. He was like, yeah, and he just smiled, and just like some small like that, you know what I mean, and it just becomes addictive, you know what I mean? Like, I have, like, even during my trials and my darkness and everything, you know what I mean, my life, I've learned to, like, lift people, you know what I mean? Like, and, of course, put people in the place when I need to as well, and Lord is, like, let me tell you, still training me, and, there's nothing wrong with speaking truth, and I will stand in my truth and my testimony, and, like I said, I just learned to let go of everything in my life, you guys, and like I said, time's an illusion. I learned everything, you know what I mean? God has created a path for you, and it's already written, and it's already written in the skies for you. It's already done, you know what I mean? And we're just walking that path. He's already won the war. He's already won the battle. We are just walking in it, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I learned, you guys. And but anyways, I'm just excited, you guys, and I know, like, it's been journey like that, you know what I mean? That's all I could say, and but my faith, imperfect perfect person, you guys, but my faith has always kept me I've always kept faithful to God, you guys, and I always believed, even like in situations, you know what I mean, like in past stuff like that, I stood in my faith, you guys, like I'm telling you, and it just continues to lift me up, you know what I mean? And but I just want to share that love always wins, you guys. Love always wins against evil, and or whatever way you want to look at it. It's not really evil. It's like you laugh at, like, as I share, as the Lord leads me to share, like, it's just like you laugh at this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that I've been through and stuff like that. I laugh at it, and again, God has given me a different perspective in life, and going through this journey, and it's all how we look at it, you know what I mean? Like, and but yes, I just wanted to just say hi and share this message, you know what I mean? Like, and just say I love you, world, and I love to love, and like I said, and one thing is you guys, is God's taught me to forgive, never to forget, but to forgive. Forgive is, like, I'm telling you guys, I don't know how it is, like, you just go to God and you forgive, and you know what I mean? Like, and whatever you may think that others did to you, and stuff like that, like, you lift it up to God, and there's different, like, ways of seeing this, you know what I mean? I want to give my point of view and share my story, you guys, and but there's so many people, God is bringing so much light in my life now, and coming from unhealed, broken in my past and stuff like that, to so many of these people bouncing off back and forth, and it's so cool to have be a light and then bounce off with another light, you know what I mean? It's like boing 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 boing. I mean, it's so different from going through a narcissist and stuff like that, and it's one-sided, and you're bouncing from nothing, you know what I mean? You're just it's one-sided, you know what I mean? And versus coming from other people that are genuinely, that have passion for you, that care about you, that love you, that respect you, that, generally value you, you know what I mean, as a human, in their actions, and like, and it's just unbelievable, and it changes, like, it's just unbelievable, you guys, like, I can't explain, like, you guys, how unbelievable. And as a curse breaker, you guys, and I am proud of that, you guys, because it took a lot. And one of my not recent lineages and bloodline, there was a lot of cycles I had to break, as you share this story, you know what I mean? Like, and I just call it my next stories with that. And then, bear with me, guys, I have a hard time, like, I'm just like, been stepping into so much light, and I'm like walking into this light, and it's like it's amazing, you know, and it's just I just thankful to God, you guys, and I'm just thankful to be able to go out here and encourage people, you know, and it makes me cry because, like I said, I'm very gifted, you guys, and I see things, you know, and that I pray about, you know, talking about on here and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to see that, you know, especially when you are a huge light worker and you just have so much love in your heart, and you know, but you also know that there's, you know, so much that, you know, you got to leave to God, you know, and that's why I learned my lesson. I was like, no, thank you, God, I'm not you. And like I said, you know, there's things that you have to surrender and allow others to learn in their walks. And so, but that's one thing that I healed from my past is I'm not a rescuer. You know what I mean? I'm not a rescuer. That's God's job. You know what I mean? Nobody, you know? And I'm a vessel. I could lift and encourage people. That's it. And plant seeds. That's all I'm called here to do. And that's all I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And, but one thing I learned as healing as empath is that I'm not a rescuer. I'm not God. I will not do that. Anything that's, you know, like I said, in my journey, I've learned to let all the baggage go, you know what I mean? And, you know, that was hindering me in my walk, all this stuff like that. I've learned to really, truly release that. And I had to go through those cycles and break, you know, and learn that, you know, and from family to, you know, the way people treated me and stuff like that. And it feels great, you guys, like I'm just thankful, you know, God's, you know, giving me such a beautiful heart and purity, even after everything I went through. You know, you don't get bitter, you get better, you know, and that's what I think I strive to do is, you know, and but remember, you guys, everything, rest, you guys, and remember, you are valuable. I just want to share that I'm valuable. I've learned to rest in God, and, you know, and trust in God and everything in my life, you know, and timing, stuff like that, and learning that's in the journey, and it's not, you know, what's on the other side. Like Miley Cyrus had a song, it's The Climb, and it goes into it. It's like so many songs that just reminisce, but like, you know, it's not about how long it takes us to get there, what's on the other side. It's all about the climb, you know what I mean? And it really is, and that's being your journey, you know, and learning in that process. And that's why, you know, sometimes I really wanted to learn, you know, and so, and I really learned, you guys, and it's not about, you know, anything on the outside of you, external. It's all about what's inside, you guys, and just really learning. Well, there are lessons in life. It's beautiful. You know, I know it's hard because when you go through like some of the stuff I went through, and it's like, how can you see the light in that? How can you, right? And this is what he's been teaching me, you know? It's like, that was teaching me what I'm not, you know what I mean? And it made me come into who I am, you know? And anyways, but I just want to say God bless you guys. I look forward to speaking to you. Thank you for your love and your support. And again, it's not how fast you get there. It's not what's on the other side. It's all about the climb, you know, and just really trying to enjoy every second of every minute, you guys, and just take a moment, and every person that comes across you and everything, and just ask, you know, if you don't, not a believer, whatever, ask the universe, whatever, what is my lesson in this? You know what I mean? And there's always a lesson in everything we go through and every person we come across. And, but anyways, God bless you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Yes. And I have so much more, you guys. And, I want to send love and light, and I will, talk to you, here in my next video. And I'm just looking forward to, seeing more people and expanding and sharing sharing a deeper side of me. It's been hard, and especially all the other stuff I've been through. So, I'm just trusting God to help me to open up where I need to be open up, especially when you're dealing with, in my situation, my story, and blocked a lot of things, from past stuff that out, and but like I said, I'm just learning to trust the process and trust God. And I'm very bold, very outgoing, but I learned a lot, and so it's like, but anyways, God bless you. And I will see you on my next one. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love, love, love to love. It is amazing. And if you do not know how to love, I will pray for you, because you are missing out. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I made sure, because, okay, so I just want to say that loving is just fucking amazing. That's all I gotta say, you guys. Maybe because I've been on my journey, and and His Christ spirit, taught me, and the love that He gave me changed me. You know what I mean? And I want to share that. And I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm so good at what I do, and I just go out here naturally and I do it, and it just fucking lights people up, and I just fucking love that shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my French, but God bless you, and I will see you in my next one, you guys. I love you. I hope you're ready for the heat, because it's coming.